Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's clinical lectures on abnormal uterine bleeding, a systematic approach to diagnosis and management. I am Dr. Jeff Mathe, a senior lecturer in the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology here at QUES. Today, we'll explore one of the most common presenting complaints in our gynecological practice. This is affecting up to 1/3 of all our patients. This is the condition that really impacts women's quality of life. And our goal today is to equip you with a systematic evidence-based approach to diagnosis and management. So let me walk you through our agenda for today. We'll begin by the epidemiology and the clinical significance of abnormal uterine bleeding, establishing why this matters so much to our patients. We'll then establish what constitutes normal versus abnormal bleeding pattern using modern standardized terminology. But the core of our discussion will focus on the Palm-Cohen classification system. This is the FIGO's brilliant framework that ensure we don't miss any potential causes. We'll systematically work you through both structural and non-structural causes. Following that, we'll discuss clinical assessment and technique appropriate for investigation and evidence-based management, both medical and surgical. Finally, we'll address special population, that is including the like of adolescent, perimenopausal women, and post-menopausal women before we wrap up with some clinical synthesis and key take-home messages. So, welcome. So, before we begin, let's establish our learning objective. First, we should be able to define abnormal uterine bleeding by understanding normal menstruation patterns and also recognizing clinically significant deviation of it. Second, you will learn to apply the Palm-Cohen classification systematically. This framework will guide your diagnosis workup and ensure comprehensive evaluation. Third, you will develop skills in conducting systematic assessment through thorough history taking and physical examination. This is where the diagnosis begins. Fourth, you will know how to order and interpret some appropriate diagnostic tests based on clinical presentation and risk factors of the patient. And finally, you will be able to formulate evidence-based, individualized management plan that consider each patient's unique circumstances, including age, fertility desire, and symptom severity. So, these objectives will guide our discussion today. Let's talk about epidemiology and clinical significance. The numbers are striking. Abnormal uterine bleeding accounts for approximately, as I said, 1/3 of all gynecology outpatient visits. 1 in 3 patients walking into a gynecological clinic present with bleeding concerns. This makes it one of the most common complaints that you will encounter in practice. The prevalence is equally remarkable. 10 to 30% of reproductive age women are affected at some point in life, though the exact figures varies based on how we define it and which population we are saving. Beyond the numbers, consider the consequences, because abnormal uterine bleeding is the leading cause of iron deficiency anemia in women worldwide. Many of our patients require iron supplementation, and some will develop even severe anemia requiring transfusion. The impacts of quality of life cannot be overstated. Women with abnormal uterine bleeding often experience significant disruption to their physical, social, and emotional well-being. They miss work, they avoid some social activity, and experience considerable anxiety, even embarrassment in the public. And finally, abnormal bleeding is a major indication for what? Hysterectomy in many settings, a significant surgical intervention that permanently affects what? Fertility. This is not just a minor inconvenience we know here in Africa setting. This is a condition that profoundly affects women's lives. Now let's talk about normal versus abnormal bleeding. To recognize abnormal bleeding, we must first establish what is normal, isn't it? FIGO has standardized these parameters and they are essential to memorize. Normal cycle frequency ranges from 24 to 38 days, measured from the first day of one's period to the first day of the next period. Cycle irregularity should vary no more than 7 to 9 days, and significant variation suggests ovulatory dysfunction. And menstrual duration should last 4.5 to 8 days. Bleeding lasting longer than 8 days is considered as prolonged menstruation. And perhaps most importantly is measuring the blood loss, which should be less than 80 milliliters per cycle. Beyond this, women will develop iron deficiency. So here is the key clinical principle. Any deviation with these normal established parameters constitute what we call abnormal bleeding, and they warrant what? An evaluation. So how do we formally define abnormal uterine bleeding? According to FIGO, abnormal uterine bleeding is defined as bleeding from the uterine corpus that is abnormal in frequency, regularity, duration, and what? Volume. According to FIGO, abnormal uterine bleeding is defined as bleeding from the uterus that is abnormal in frequency, regularity, duration, and volume. The scope of this definition is broad, so it encompasses all abnormal bleeding patterns regardless of etiology or severity. So this includes both excessive and insufficient bleeding, as well as bleeding at inappropriate time. An important clinical note is as follows. This definition specifically excludes bleeding from the lower genital tract, meaning the vulva, vagina, and cervix. The definition we are talking about is not including those. We are talking specifically about uterine bleeding, bleeding from uterus. So here is a critical teaching point. AUB, or abnormal uterine bleeding, is a symptom, not a diagnosis. So when a patient presents with abnormal bleeding, that is just the beginning of our evaluation. We must then determine the underlying cause using a systematic approach, which is where the Palm-Cohen classification comes in. And before we continue, I want to acknowledge that our terminology has evolved. In 2011, FIGO introduced standardized international terminology to replace the older ones, which were imprecise terms. So terms like menorrhagia, metorrhagia, menometrorrhagia are now outdated. Don't use them anymore. Instead, we use clear descriptive terms like heavy menstrual bleeding for menorrhagia, intermenstrual bleeding or IMB for metrorrhagia, frequent menstruation or cycle less than 24 for polymenorrhagia, and infrequent menstruation cycle more than 38 days for oligoamenorrhea. This standardization facilitates clear communication in clinical practice and enables meaningful international research collaboration because you are using the same terminology. There are, however, additional essential terms that you need to know, like prolonged menstruation, which refers to bleeding lasting more than 8 days. This may indicate underlying structural pathology and will require also what? An evaluation. There is also what we call irregular menstruation. Irregular menstruation means cycle to cycle variation exceeding 7 to 9 days. It exceeds those ones. This suggests that there is an ovulatory dysfunction and is commonly seen in conditions like PCOS or thyroid disease. We have also postcoital bleeding, bleeding following sexual intercourse. Always requires gynecological evaluation. It may indicate that there is some cervical pathology, including cervical cancer, or just a simple one like an infection, cervicitis. And finally, we have postmenopausal bleeding. This is defined as any bleeding occurring 12 months or more after the last menstrual period. This is critically important because postmenopausal bleeding is considered cancer until proven otherwise and require urgent evaluation. We'll discuss this in detail when we cover specific or special population.